Let's come back to our Lagos studio where we have joining us on the program the head people and culture optimist by Afrinvest, Demola Scott, as we talk about the future of work. Mr. Scott, I was asking the name. This is the second Scott we're having on the program. Are you related in any shape or form?
Not at all, not at all. Like I was telling you, I saw somebody on X, right, and she reached out to me and asked if I was one of our distant cousins. I was like, I'm not actually, right, because it's our father, you know, that kind of stuff like that.
Okay, so let's talk about some of the things that is happening in the digital space as far as work is concerned. Now there are so many kinds of disruption. We call it what's it called now? Is it the technology age? I think that's the term I was actually looking for. The fourth revolution. And now recently we're seeing what's played out between ChatGPT and DeepSeek and the argument about how much was funded by this, whether it's a propaganda. Well, I don't want to get into all of that. So is the future of work safe with humans? That's my first question.
Fantastic. So I think that the future of work is safe. Now, what we are going to see in the future, we are already in the future, right? What we're going to see is augmentation, not displacement. What most people are scared of.
Are you sure?
Yes, I think so. Now, a couple of jobs will be displaced, while new jobs will be created. And that's exactly how it's going to be, because it's only those that do not upskill, do not get better, do not learn how to manage and use those technology, right? You know, those are the people that would be displaced, and those are the guys that will probably see their jobs lost. You know, if you take your mind back to maybe the 1980s, 1970s, there was a typewriter, right? And then computers came up, right? And it was the people that were typists that did not upskill, right, that lost their jobs. And if you go to some local governments, you still see them there till now typing on the typewriter, right?
What are they typing?
I don't know, they're typing affidavit, you know, and all of that, right? But those that actually upskill themselves and learned about what was happening in their environment began to rapidly upskill. And then that actually helped them. So new jobs will be created, right? While some other jobs will be obsolete. We shouldn't be scared of AI. We should actually embrace AI. Of course, it has its own downsides to it, but we should embrace it because it would make life easier for everybody.
The reason I ask, so for developing economy, because I just for developing economies like ours, I know that, for instance, the president, Donald Trump, has said, drill, baby, drill. And has, I think, invalidated the EV mandate, which by that it means, for instance, the EU, fossil fuel beginning to phase out to an extent. And if they feel that they are not ready for the matchup, they will use what they have to protect themselves. So are we just going to be jumping on these things and not looking at the size of our population? First, we don't really have jobs, and now AI is coming with all these bots to threaten the small one we have.
Yes, so I think that what we just need to begin to think about, and that's one of the things I've seen with the third world, right? Most of the times there's no thinking that goes into when it comes to job creation. You see, when people want to create jobs, they're probably creating jobs that don't require some level of thought process or some level of intelligence. They're just creating manual jobs, right? And all of that. So what I believe is this, is that we need to think about it. And like you said, you know, our own situation, we need to localize these concepts and these ideas. You can't just jump on the bandwagon or whatever is happening or the new fad, right? But what you need to do is think about it and localize those ideas. Change is going to come, whether you like it or not. It's definitely going to come, right? We're going to have to go to the hybrid environment, the EV space. We're going to have to go to AI. We have to embrace it. But you have to begin to think about how will you localize these things and how will you gradually build a roadmap. So what I've seen is that we don't have a roadmap. There's no plan for job creation for 2025, for 2030. There's no 5-year plan to say this is how I want to create jobs. People say they want to create jobs when they're doing manifestos or whatever it is, but you see, there's no clear plan and there's no clear agenda on how you're going to create those jobs. So one of the things we need to begin to do is put on our thinking caps, localize these issues and see what is happening globally. You know, let me just say this before you come in. In China already, you see young children beginning to learn about tech, learn about AI, they are building stuff and all of that, right? But that's because there's a plan. They have a plan already that they want to create this amount of jobs and this kind of jobs, right? But what we have here is there's no plan for our teeming population, right? So we need to begin to put on our thinking caps and localize these issues and find what will work for us in Nigeria and in Africa as a whole, and then we can begin to embrace those new things that are coming.
Now, you said something very critical earlier on. You said that there won't be job losses as such. I'm not quoting you copiously now, but there will be augmentation. And you talk about skill acquisition. So from the perspective of an HR professional, what are the additional skills that job seekers should begin to acquire? Because the goal of a job seeker, even the entrepreneur, is financial security in the long term. So in engineering, in accounting, in the media, what are the additional digital skills that we need to begin to acquire in order to safeguard our incomes?
Okay, so just to answer that question, I will just come from two sides, right? There's soft skills and the technical skills, right? So which you talk about, which is digital skills, the technical skills that everybody needs to begin to look at. Truth about it is that not all of us, everybody has the skill set or have the capacity to learn these new skill sets, right? What you need to do is have what I call collaboration skills. Meaning that if I cannot develop the apps or develop the processes itself, but I can lead and I can bring a team together that would do those things as an entrepreneur, right? Because you don't want to begin to learn new things. I remember in 2018 I learned about data science, right? I went to an AI school, learned about data science, but I found out that I didn't have the skill sets for it. Like I was not that patient enough to begin to code and press something on my laptop. But what I've learned is how I can use that data science in my HR. Do you understand? So what you need to begin to think about is what these skills that are out there, how can I begin to augment it or add it to what I currently have? The World Economic Forum had listed about 10 soft skills that everybody needs to have, because whether you're an accountant, whether you are an HR professional, whether you are a software engineer, you need those soft skills. Right, so those are the most important things people need to focus on first of all, while now keeping their eyes open, right, to those digital skills that are currently there: cloud computing, AI, big data, and all of that. Those are the skills that people need to begin to look at. But not all of us can sit down on a computer right now and begin to code. Right, so we must not put ourselves under that pressure that we must learn those digital skills. So what we need to learn is how can I think clearly? Digital leadership skills, right? Team leadership, self-leadership, and then collaboration skills. Those would actually help you to take the skill set of other people and use that for yourself as a business owner and also as an individual. That's what I think, actually.
So, let's be honest with ourselves. Do you foresee that in the long term, maybe not in the short term, but in the long term, that the human element to be eliminated in most skills that are quite close to, a form of digital intervention, such that even if you're going to be working at all, you'll be working from a particular location, there would not be the need for that hands-on element. Do you foresee that?
It's already happening, because a lot of our processes are beginning to get automated. A lot of companies have not just begun, they've over the years done that, but it's getting better and stronger, right? When you're automating process, you just run a query and then it gives you all the data that you need in that sense there. But so that means that there's no need for a data entry person anymore. Sometimes, so you have that, right? So it's already coming, it's already happening. And jobs, like I said, will definitely have to be phased out because those jobs are so close, like you said, right, to what AI can do or what data can do or what technology can solve for us, right? Now I'm not going to pour through Excel files when I'm doing payroll anymore, right? I'm probably using a particular, software to do that, right? So those jobs are beginning to find different meanings, right? So you need to begin to find different meanings within your particular job. So what I see is the concern and the fear, about whether my job is safe, and what I want to say, if that's the only thing I say here, is that people should not be scared of what's coming. Instead, you should openly embrace it and rapidly scale up.
Jeffrey, are you scared for your job?
No, I'm not scared. Well, there's always a way to how do you call it? Is it metamorphose? That's the right word. But there's something I want you to speak to, which has to do. I was listening to the current Prime Minister of Singapore and how they are thinking, and I want you to speak to how we can localize it here. Talking about upskilling and reskilling for people who are within certain age groups. So. The people in their 40s or 50s who are retiring, I feel docile, irrelevant. The system is now providing some of a subvention and process where they can learn digital skills to still be relevant and provide and contribute to society. So if you were to give us like a bouquet, a kit for upskilling and reskilling within age brackets, say 20s, 30s, especially those above 40s, what will it be? You're an HR guy. Somebody, you need the energy and the experience all in one box.
So one of the things I've seen while working with different age groups is I found out that the people that are in their 50s and above that have kept a young mind and have intentionally sought out information, I've always looked younger than people that do not actually seek out those information, right? So one of the things I'm reading about is the fact that age should not begin to make you lose your virility and your strength, right, and your intelligence, right? So let me start from the 20s, right? If you're in 20 to 30s, right, you need to really hone into your tech skills, right? But of course, not everybody can do tech. That's the honest truth about it. What we can just do is use tech to actually to augment whatever we're doing. So if you're learning any skill or you're getting any new skill, right, the most important thing you need to focus on at that level is soft skills. Emotional intelligence, leadership skills, because those are the things that would actually set you apart. I'll give an example. There was a time where tech guys in Nigeria used to just be guys that were going to wear flip-flops, wear their t-shirts, be in their rooms and just code. And employers began to find out that they wanted people that had emotional intelligence to add to that skill set, right? Beyond just, because guys will just talk anyhow and behave anyhow to employers, right? And they wanted more from them, right? So if you're at that age and at that particular space, you need to add to those your technical skill sets, the soft skills, communication, leadership, emotional intelligence, interpersonal skills, adaptability, right? Being able to adapt to different situations, resilience, right? Because most times people break easily. We have mental health conversations right now, right? So there's that. Gen Z is exactly right. They don't go through difficult things and they just want to chicken out immediately at the sight of issues, right?
Is that really true?
Yes, I think so. Yeah, I really think so, right? Most times, people just say, hey, I have to guard my mental health, But some of us went through difficult things, right? And challenging things in our work experience to be able to get to where we currently are, right? So that's basically for that class of people, right? From the 30s, 40s, once you're 30 plus, people begin to look at you in a particular way, right? So at that point, you're probably at the top of your career. You're already leading people and all of that, right? At that point, what you need to have is ability to work across generations, meaning that you need to be able to, because most times what I found out is that if you are not intentional about learning about what these guys are doing and what they are learning, you will get lost out. You get lost, right? Most times they will just say something and you don't know what that means. So you need to be intentional at that point to learn how they are thinking, because you're going to lead those people, and that's why most times there are clashes in the organizations because different generations are having a clash of style. I want you to come in at 8 o'clock, but I can work anywhere from anywhere that I am, right? So you need to add to that intentionality, very, very important, and also keep your eyes open to the new fad and the new things that are happening. Even if you're not going to be an expert in that thing, at least understand exactly what is happening in that space. So there's AI, there's ChatGPT, there's DeepSeek, all that. Just find a little bit to understand. Ask questions. Very, very important. And once you are in your 40s and 50s, thank God for what Singapore is currently doing. And that's because they are intentional. They are thinking about it. And they are backed by data.
All right.
To see that.
Just because we're totally out of time, Bukola. Okay, Bukola.
I was going to ask, how do you conduct emotional intelligence, mental health tests for those that you're employing, even if they have digital skills?
30 seconds.
Thank you. There are assessments. Right, the assessment tools that you can use, and for emotional intelligence also too, you can always do different kind of tests. There's stress test. You can observe people, right, in groups, right? You can observe them in groups, and then you can also beyond that, you can always have trainings, right, where you are able to in those trainings now teach about it and then do a post test to see whether these people have learned those skill sets that you have taught them in the trainings.
Okay, because I wanted to, but we're totally out of time. I wanted to find out whether this technology age is really making people more intelligent or less intelligent. Sometimes we may miss that narration. But one answer, yes. More or less, or is it a hybrid of both?
It's a hybrid of both, yes. It depends on the person itself, actually.
All right.
Quite instructive.
All right, Demola Scott, head people and culture. Okay, that's HR now. That's a new term.
Yeah, you see that. That's
head people, culture, and experience in some places.
Yeah, in some places.
So head people and culture, Optimus by AfriInvest. Thank you so much for coming to the program.
Thank you so much for having me. Thank you.
All right, we will take a quick break. When we come back, we're not done with the conversation. We have a lot more, and this time we'll be talking to an artist. So if you can paint, if you can draw, if you had those skills and you threw it away, it's time to pick up the pencil, and maybe you could get back to the game. Join us again.